Welcome back to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Murrell. This week's special guest is Stacey Foyster, better known online as the crime scene cleaner. Stacey's job is one most people couldn't even imagine, and today she opens up about the reality behind it. Talk about some of the toughest scenes she's had to clean, the emotional weight that comes with stepping into people's lives at their lowest moments, and how the job has shaped the way she sees the world. It's honest, heavy at times, but incredibly insightful. Thanks for listening and watching this episode.
If you find any cash, we want the cash and we want the jewellery. And that's what's difficult, is you're going in and seeing that somebody was alive in this room and there's toys on the floor, and what kind of life has this child had to have a needle inside their toy?
Welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Murrell, and this week's special guest is Stacey Foyster. Really looking forward to sharing the Good, the Bad and the Ugly. How are we?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. I just want to say thank you so much for travelling all this way, because you've just told me you and your friend have just travelled 5 hours.
5 hours, yeah.
I think it's closer to drive to Euro Disney, but where
It
you
is,
live.
yeah.
Honest to God, I didn't realise how far you bloody lived. But listen, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
I know
Good to be here.
I know we were going to do it beforehand, but I know you had a big job on, and your story and what you do and stuff like that is really interesting, and that's why I wanted to get you on, Stacey. You know, your story's going to blow people's minds. Your job as a crime scene cleaner, for me, it's something I certainly couldn't do, like many others, but it's also how you become in this profession, do you know what I mean? So, listen, let's get right into it. Where you're from, where you grew up, family life and school life was like?
I was born in Canterbury, and then we moved around to Herne Bay, that kind of area, so I've always grown up by the seaside. And then when I was 5 years old, my dad had his own business and we moved to Lordswood. And yeah, that's kind of the area that I stayed around, Maidstone, Rochester, where I still live now and worked around there. What
was it like growing up for you as a kid in that school and stuff like that?
I didn't really like school. I was always the fidget, the daydreamer. I've been diagnosed with ADHD now, which obviously makes a lot of sense. So I'm diagnosed when I was young. But yeah, I fidgeted a lot. I was the daydreamer, the chatterbox. All of my school reports said the same. But I did quite well at school. I just kind of breezed through it, as in I didn't find it difficult. I just found it boring.
Yeah.
I used to love going to see my friends every day.
Yeah. Did you have brothers and sisters?
I've got a sister, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 3 years younger than me.
What was that like for you?
Oh, we hated each other when we were growing up. We used to fight, and I think we've given each other a couple of black eyes before. But yeah, she works with me now. So.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know, like you say. So obviously you got through school, and when you left school, you know, did you know what you wanted to do career-wise and stuff like that?
So I really wanted to be a hairdresser and get into hair design, and I wanted to be in like movies and do special effects for hair and things like that. But my parents wanted to push me down a different career path. When I was younger, I really wanted to be a marine biologist and study sea animals, but you needed to be really clever in science, and I didn't have that kind of knack, which is funny because I kind of need it now with the chemicals that we use. So yeah, I then left school and didn't really know what path I wanted to take. So I left it till the last minute and enrolled to be a legal secretary. So I'm actually a qualified and trained legal secretary as well.
Yeah.
And I went on a 2-week work experience and hated it. So I didn't actually ever work properly in a law firm. And then I went back to like waitressing and kind of just floated around for a while until I got my job at the bank. So I was with the bank for nearly 11 years.
Yeah, did you enjoy it at the bank and stuff?
In the beginning, I did really like it, but I think corporate life just wasn't for me, the normal 9 to 5 in an office. I struggled with a lot of the computer work and the admin. I used to love talking to people and love speaking to customers, and I did quite well there. I went up to be a manager and had like a team of staff, which I loved. And I got into risk analysis and fraud, which I really loved as well because it was investigative. But when I had my daughter and I had my maternity leave, when I went back, I think something had just shifted and I just didn't want that office life anymore.
Yeah. So after going back to, you know, after having your daughter and stuff, you know, you thought, this isn't for me no more. Something's, you know, I want to change. Is that when you started your business, Cleansed? Is that right?
Yeah, Cleansed. Yeah, so I'd gone back, had Jocelyn, and then I went back. She was about 5, and I think there was some struggle over annual leave, and I thought, I just can't. There were some school runs I couldn't go to and Christmas plays and things, and I thought, I don't want this life. I want to be able to do something and give her something to aspire to and it's meaningful. And I'd had a real bad struggle with anxiety, and I'd had some time off. And when I went back, as soon as I sat back at the desk after a few months of being away, I thought, this is what's making me not very well. This isn't my calling. And then I really loved cleaning. I didn't when I was younger. I think I had new species of mould growing in my room when I was a teenager. The cups were just disgusting. That would like find at the bottom of the bed or whatever. You know what most teenagers like.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't know what happened. I think I just really enjoyed the process of cleaning. And then one of my mum's friends had an office that needed the cleaning at the weekends, and I started cleaning that. And I was trying to think of names for the business, and then just thought of Cleansed. And yeah, I started cleaning for her and just started from that. And I was still at the bank at the time. And then within 6 weeks, I'd gone from 1 client to 25. So I had left the bank, just literally said, I can't do this anymore, I'm leaving. And then just hit the ground running with Cleansed.
Full time, just like...
Yeah,
bang.
just literally mortgage to pay, everything else, and just... was like, no, I'm gonna give this my best shot.
But taking that risk as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? But then,
it's impulsivity.
it is, isn't it? You're taking
it's in me.
But it's good that you've got that, and at that, you say at a younger age and whatever, you've just gone, right, I'm gonna leave the bank.
Yeah.
It's like a job for life, isn't it? Where people, I've worked in the bank for...
Yeah, you've got your retirement and your pension and everything set up, and it was a good job. They are good to you there. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I was 30, and I think I just had maybe a semi-midlife crisis.
Yeah,
I want to do something else.
But you didn't look back, and it's great that going from 1 client to 25.
Yeah, in 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks, and then did it just grow and grow? Did it?
Yeah, and then I got contacted by I don't know if I'll be allowed to say.
By a company.
I got contacted by like a local authority to do cleaning for vulnerable people, and when I went there, they said like these places are not great. These are people that have come from not great backgrounds, and there's going to be a lot of it's just grim basically.
Yeah.
And, yeah, some of them were like no lone working. So as a woman, you couldn't go in there alone because the people may have been in and out of prison, or they're just dangerous to be around. So I had to go through a lot of paperwork to try and get the business up to a standard that we were ready to take on a contract like this. And then that's where it kind of the deep cleaning then started to take off.
Yeah, because you specialise in deep cleaning properties after traumatic events such as crime scenes and biohazards.
Yeah. What
was it like the first ones? Like the first one, was you anxious? Was you, not knowing like what you were going to... Obviously, you're aware of, they give you some information of what you're going to be going into, but that first one, what was that like?
Well, I got offered to do a drug den, and I had a very bad phobia of needles when I was younger. Used to not go to school on the day when you had like your jabs and stuff.
The BCG
the BCG, I just didn't go in. I had to get taken to the doctors privately to go there because I wouldn't have it done at school. And when I got called by the authority to do this drug den, straight away I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. And that's when I then became trained. So I went home and thought, I've just said no to a job in something that I'm specialising in, and I want this to be unlimited for me. And I've said no to it. So that's when I started researching biohazard and what the dangers were around needles and blood and all of those kind of things that come with it. And then I was trained, and then the very first official one I had was for a child that had passed away. Oh. So that was when I got that phone call. That was pretty tough for the very first one.
The first one.
Yeah,
Stacey,
and I was anxious, a bit like, I don't really know if I can do this. I've got, at the time, I think my daughter was maybe 7 or 8, and that's all you think about is your own children. And the person was trying to tell me everything that had happened, and I don't want to know. All I want to know is where there's blood, if whatever else there is there. I don't want to know what happened to the child. They told me, but I said I don't want to know. I just want to go in, get it done, and try and make it better. Because
like you're saying there, you don't want to know, and when someone's like, because you probably look at your own child and you're thinking that's what's going through your mind, probably. Do you know what I mean? But like anything to do with children like that, it must be so horrific. When you're there, a child passes or whatever, or anything. Child's hurt or something like that, it turns your stomach. But to be the first one for you as well.
The first one, I was thrown in at the deep end.
Majorly thrown in at the deep end, but from there on it was like, the job started coming in more like similar situations, not just like adults turning up to crime scenes or whatever it was. did work just start rolling in from that then with what you were doing?
Yeah, so it comes in ebbs and flows. So I think sometimes we'll get 10 a week, sometimes it will be quiet. It depends really on what's happening. Winter is normally quite busy. I think people have the SAD syndrome or the SED.
Yeah, I think
so that kind of, in the nights are rolling and loneliness really sets in with a lot of the elderly, and people that are left alone with no family and they don't really get contacted. So they're the ones that we go to where they've been found a few weeks later because, you know, there's a smell, or the postman's noticed that the letters aren't being picked up, or a neighbour maybe hasn't seen them for a while. So that can be quite difficult as well.
Yeah. So when you're attending like these, you know, properties and stuff like that, and like you're saying, you know, people have been there for like a couple of weeks or whatever, and the smell, the decomposed and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it must be, you know, for you, you've got to go in there and you've got to obviously clean the property up and that. Anyone watching this or listening to this is probably thinking, oh my God, how do people actually, you know what I mean? But it's a job.
Yeah, it's my job.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And for you, being working in a bank and then
behind a computer, going to the tea room, like, it's completely different.
Yeah, and you don't know what one day is going to be like to the next.
No idea. No. Sometimes we get a phone call in the morning and say, I had one where not that long ago, I think it was last week, somebody had fallen down the stairs and cut themselves as they went, so there was blood on the ceiling, down the stairs, because it's obviously not always crime scenes and people passing away. Sometimes it's really bad accidents that have happened, people have had a fall. It's still biohazard if there's blood everywhere. We had one where somebody had jumped off of a shopping centre over the glass like balustrades and gone on the floor, and there was blood everywhere there. So the shopping centre was, you know, needed to be cleaned urgently. So I can get a phone call to say, can you get here in half an hour? So we have to be prepped and ready to go, really.
Is it 24 hours? Is it your job? Is your phone?
Yeah, so when I trained with the National Academy of Crime Scene Cleaners, we've got a kind of like a network, so we speak to each other. So if there's a job, obviously I'm 5 hours away. If there was a job here, I have got people that I can contact and say, right, I've had a job come up in Runcorn. Is anyone free to go and do it? So we do all speak to each other. There's not really much animosity or challenge in our...
It's network and sort
of... Yeah, we all network and we all get on pretty well. So yeah, we all pass each other work. So we do try and offer the quickest turnaround that we can. It's impossible for me to get somewhere in half an hour if it's really far away. Yeah. But there will be someone that I know that can.
Yeah, so it's like someone up this north of the country, you know what I mean? But, you know, crime scene cleaning is such a unique job, some would say.
Yeah.
It's a job they could never do. You know, getting into that line of work, like obviously starting from when you started cleaning the offices and stuff like that, was it just... when you just got that phone call, is that how you got into it? Was that how you got into it, was it, yeah?
Yeah, I'd watched a TV programme as well, and I think it was like I can't remember what it was called, but it was like deep cleaning or extreme cleaning, and there was a guy that had gone in after somebody had died, and I remember I was with some friends, and they were on the sofa like recoiled, going, oh my God, I couldn't do that. And I was like, I could do that. I could definitely do that. So yeah, when I got the phone call about the needles and I turned that job down, I think for me, I was really kicking myself. I was like, why did you say no? This is your passion, and I live and breathe this business and everything about it. So I didn't want it to be limited. I forgot what you asked me.
Yeah, so just getting into it, that phone call, you know.
Yeah, the phone call. What about the child?
Yeah. You know, just obviously when you'd have them phone calls and stuff like that, and, you know, when you're thinking, oh, that business that I've started, just cleaning offices and cleaning maybe people's houses or, you know, commercial buildings. But then when you get the phone call to go and do the first job, which was obviously a child death or whatever.
Oh, I remember it. I remember that very phone call. Everyone, you'll always remember your first one. Yeah. I was in my kitchen. It was like a nice sunny day. My daughter was playing in the garden. I was on my laptop just responding to some emails, and then the phone... I had an email first saying urgent clean, we need to call you. And then my phone went straight away, and there was a guy on the phone that said... we've got a biohazard. He was really calm at first. We've got a biohazard. It's in Wales, which was the first one. And I said, okay, yeah, no worries, because it was my first one, so I was really excited. And he said, I was like, I need the details. Like, is it a crime scene with the police? Has somebody been murdered? And he said, oh, it's for a child. And I think I was trying to remain composed on the phone, because obviously, like, this is what I'm trained for. This is what my profession is. And my heart just sank, and I could hear my daughter in the garden laughing and playing. And I was like, right, okay. for a child, and he was like, it's a neglect case. And then again, it was getting deeper and deeper, and I said, it's okay, I don't need to know anymore.
What these?
Yeah, I just like, do we need? And he said the house is a mess. There's food everywhere. There's clothes everywhere. The house has been turned upside down. The family have now left. Yeah, it's all being dealt with by the police. It's now handed back to us. We need to sort the house out because it's a local authority house, so it needs to go to a new family. We need it to be.
Wow.
So I had to clean the whole house. I think we were in there for about 3 days. And that's what's difficult, is you're going in and seeing that somebody was alive in this room, and there's toys on the floor, and there's a mattress there with like an unmade bed, and it's there in front of you, and you're clearing it away for someone else to move into this house, and they've got no idea what's gone on there.
That's absolutely crazy when you break it down like that, and like you're saying, getting that phone call said that, and you don't want to know. Your daughter's playing in the garden, and it's your business and stuff like that, and then you probably question yourself, thinking, wow.
Yeah, I think I contacted, I can't remember who it was, but afterwards, I think maybe my friend was living with me at the time and came home, and I said, I've just had my first one come in, and he was like, are you sure you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah, right, this is what I'm trained for. I can't turn it down because it's a child, it's biohazard, it needs to be done. But yeah, I think when we did it, I took about 3 or 4 days off after that.
I was about to say, how was you mentally after that? Because for anyone seeing, someone who's died or whatever, but obviously being a child, I mean, look, that will always play on your mind.
Always, yeah.
It's, something that you probably will never forget.
Thankfully, I've never had one since for a child,
right,
which, again, I think the first one you always remember, like we said. And yeah, when you're there, I'm in job mode, work mode, so it is a job. I'm just thinking about, right, I need to clear this, and how am I safely going to clear that, and can that be recycled? Can we donate this somewhere? What are we going to clean? Have we got a safe zone? So when you're in the work mindset, I'm not thinking in my head, oh, this is a child. Yeah. I'm in work mode. When we came out, we would always have like a post-job Kit Kat. So we'd go by the van, take our suits off and go, right, that was rough. We'll have a Kit Kat and a chat around the van. And I think at that point, we didn't even do that. We just got in our cars and went. And I think I cried for a lot of the way.
Well, I was about to say, you know, like we've had police officers on and stuff like that. And they've said, and I said, how does the balance of what you've just witnessed and dealt with to when you go home to your partner or your wife, your husband, or whatever, and like you're saying, you cried and stuff like that, And,
you have to process it. You're a human.
Listen, you're not a robot, are you? And it's just like for you to, because you are a human being, you have feelings, you have, and like you say, that's just I can't even. I've got the words to think about it, because how you process that. You go home to to your family home, and then how do you switch off from like work, because that's something that you know what I mean. But that's a scary, that's a horrific one. But a typical day for you, Stacey, what's that? A typical day for you?
I don't really have a typical day. The business has typical days, so we obviously cover a lot of commercial areas. So we clean for like vet practices, and we've got a primary school that we clean for. We don't really do domestic cleaning anymore, but a lot of high level, intricate cleaning. So that's the day-to-day running. But yeah, I could get a phone call now. So.
I hope not. But you know what? It's like you're saying, your phone's on 24/7.
And that's what's difficult as well, because if I've planned something, I remember like if I've been in a relationship before and we've planned to go out somewhere and I've had a phone call come in, and this is where I think I struggle when I'm in relationships, because they're like, we've got dinner reservations. And I'm like, I don't care. There's a job that needs to be done. Or a member of my staff has called in sick. So a day for me is never the same. I could wake up this morning and everything could be running smoothly, and then by the time I've done the school run and back home again, everything. This week has been one of those weeks where everything has gone wrong.
Yeah.
And lots of things have come in. But it's just how it rolls when you've got a business.
Your business is just like relentless. It's non-stop.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's 24 hour round the clock, isn't it? You know what I mean? I just touched on it, but mentally, Stacey, how do you prepare for like going into a crime or trauma scene? How do you...
I get asked this quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's there, because like I said at the beginning of the episode, I couldn't fucking do it. It's a job that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's...
Yeah.
It's very... say I'm saying interesting, people might say, fucking hell. It is very interesting, because people don't know what goes on behind the scenes of actually like cases that, you know, like you say, biohazards and stuff and
Yeah.
crime scenes and stuff like that. How do you prepare yourself?
So I can't answer that because I don't know. I don't think beforehand.
Is it just a routine that you just go and do?
Yeah, I don't. I think sometimes maybe you take a deep breath and go. But again, I'm quite good at, I guess, like, is it compartmentalising? So like I said, I am not Stacey, mum, friend. I am Glenn's business owner, the crime scene cleaner, and that is what I'm doing. So everything else just goes away, and then all my biohazard knowledge comes in. And like I said, it's just like a methodical, right, this is what I need to do. I need to have a safe zone. We need to have this. We need to do a needle sweep or make sure the area is clear. And then I just go into work mode. So I don't really mentally prepare, but it hits me after. So there is a mental impact on it. There are some that I've had where I'm fine the next day, and there's some where I've been in bed all day the next day because I'm trying to process what I've seen, what I've done, and what's happened to that person. So there are some that will stay with me for a long time.
Of course. And I'm going to ask you something, Stacey, you know, with what you do in your business and stuff like that, have you, you know, do you speak to like counsellors or anything like that to deal with what you're processing and that? Is that something
not
that you
really.
or is that not something that you've done as of yet because you just...
Yeah, not yet. I haven't felt like I've needed to. I
Right.
think sometimes I will voice off to some of my friends if I'm like, well, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
But then I've had members of staff as well, like what you said, like you definitely couldn't do it.
Yeah.
There are people that think they can do it, and I've had someone turn up before, suited and booted, mask at the door, and before we've walked in, they've gone, I can't do it. And I'm like, that's fine, go and sit in the van, take some time, think about it, but if not, we'll just do it, it's not a problem. So it's either in you or it isn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It's in me, so I can do it.
Yeah. Bloody hell, I mean, it's just, it's mad, isn't it? But, you know, like I think we've touched on moments. Is there any, besides what's the name of the child?
The child, yeah.
Is there any other ones that have actually stayed with you after you've finished that job?
Yeah, so I've got one that's really impactful at the minute for me, and we're actually doing some work around Christmas. So I got a phone call from a very, very elderly gentleman on the 27th of December, and he said to me, I remember I was driving, and again, when the phone rings, I was just like, hi, it's Stacey from Glenn's, how can I help? And then I know exactly the tone of it. It could just be an inquiry about an oven clean. And he said, oh, well, I've been given your details by the crematorium. So I was like, right, okay, I need to find somewhere quiet, pull over, because this is going to be quite a difficult conversation. And he said, oh, my son, my 60-year-old son passed away on Christmas Day. And I was like, okay, I'm really, terribly sorry to hear that. And he was telling me the details of it. And the guy had struggled with like alcoholism, and he was meant to go to his parents on Boxing Day. So they heard from him Christmas Day morning, didn't hear from him Christmas Day night. He didn't turn up on Boxing Day. They've eventually gone round there and found him, and he like passed away in the kitchen. And he died under quite not very nice circumstances. It wasn't a murder, it was like a health problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that that person died alone on Christmas Day in quite clearly a painful struggle is, yes, that's hard.
Yeah.
And then I think because that I really struggle now with people that are on their own, or people that are elderly, or that they're struggling mentally. So as a company this year, we're trying to organise a community Christmas event, so people that are on their own can pop in and have like Christmas dinner. So it'll all be sponsored by the company, just so that people don't feel so alone, and that they can reach out if they need to. But this particular guy that had passed away had tried to make it to his mobile phone, so you could see his journey through his flat, and didn't quite make it to the phone to obviously call for help. So walking in, you can see how an event has unfolded, and again, that's really, again, I can picture it right now in every single movement. And yeah, having his dad on the phone, who was in his 80s, that's just lost his son on Christmas Day. Yeah, there's things that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And have an impact on you. It makes me think, like I said, about people on their own at Christmas, people who are struggling mentally, people who have got addictions or problems that, are just suffering.
Yeah, and do you know what you just said there? And I'm just like looking at you, and I can see, when that was a tough one, because like you say, is like his dad ringing you, and you've gone there, and you can see exactly how he's tried to get to his mobile phone, and I can see like within your eyes, it's a tough one, that. And
yeah.
But what you're doing at Christmas, you're going to do that, and provide it, so you're helping people who are on their own, who might be struggling in addiction or whatever, or mentally, you're going out
what you're doing and stuff like that, because it's sort of something like that, you know, it's stuck with you, you know what I mean? And you're trying to make a little, you know, a situation a lot better for people who are on their own and who are struggling, and that's a lovely gesture, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to reinstill that there's hope.
Yeah.
So it doesn't end. The cleaning is such a small part of it. The actual clean-up is tiny. This gentleman couldn't drive, so for days I was going. Once we'd made the area safe, I was going back with him to go through his son's belongings to try and find his son's will. We were helping him to organise. Luckily, it was a fluke. I was friends with someone that the will writer. So, you know, I kind of pulled a favour and said, look, this, you know, gentleman's just passed away. We've got a letter from you saying he's got a will. We can't find it anywhere. Because this 80-year-old man didn't know how to use a mobile phone, really. So it goes a lot deeper than just the clean. You're really supporting the families, and, you know, we send flowers to the parents or whoever on the day of the funeral. So if we've been, you know, and we also try to make donations wherever we can. If it's, again, they've passed away of alcoholism or a mental health issue, we will try and make donations to those charities in their name, so that, you know, that they're not dying with, you know, not like a legacy. So we'll try and do something that we can to make them feel remembered by the family, that we're not just going in as the cleaners that's going to, you know, rake in all this money from doing biohazard. It is meaningful, and we are trying to make things better for them and take that burden away. The scene that I walked into was but there was blood and other bodily parts everywhere. So you can't clean that up unless you've been trained and you know what to do.
Exactly. And, you know, it's just the thought of, like, you know, what you're going into, and like, it's unimaginable what when you walk into somewhere like what you're explaining, and doing, you know, doing your job. But then you're going as well from outside your job. You're trying to make things a lot easier for, like, the family and stuff. You're trying to help them, and that's, you know, you can see, you know, you care as well.
Yeah.
Aftercare, you know.
Yeah, aftercare is massive. And I learnt a lot of that in the bank. You know, we had a lot of thing about, you know, ownership and following up, and that's instilled in me from being a leader within the bank. So that is how I try and lead my business. Even with my staff, we always take ownership and we follow up with everything that we can. And just being proud of your brand. And I think if it was me that had to make that devastating phone call to someone and say, this has happened to a member of my family, can you help me? I would want someone, oh, it sounds big-headed, but like me, who does care and who is empathetic, to help. And that's all that we try and do, is that's what I think. How would I like to be treated in this scenario? How can I make this better for the family? Because they're already going through absolute hell. Yeah. Losing your son on Christmas Day is, you know, what really tops that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what you're saying? You're not being big-headed. I don't think you're being big-headed.
I feel like I have imposter syndrome sometimes.
No, but you know what though? It says a lot about you as an individual.
Thank you.
Because at the end of the day, you've got to, you know, you know, your business and stuff, and it's not just like these type of, you know, situations that you deal with. You know, you do various cleaning and stuff like that, like the day-to-day stuff. But when it's like the biohazards and, like, you know, trauma scenes and stuff like that, like you say, you're in that mode.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, you know, when people come into workplaces and stuff like that, they're bringing stuff into work and where they need to, you know, and stuff like that. But where I've got a job to do here. Also, the job that in hand that you've got to do is pretty fucking tough one, if I'm going to be honest. Because, but then it's like, right, we need to do a sweep here, we need to do this here, we need to do that here.
There's no time for emotion.
You know, you've got all kinds of things that you've got to be on the ball about, and but then also you're taking into account the family. Like that gentleman's will. The dad, you know, probably doesn't know how to use an iPad or a laptop or whatever. Yeah. You know, no fault, because he's a little bit older and stuff like that. And
yeah, the world has been very fast.
You know, you could have people just go in there, clean a place out, see you later, and they're gone. And you know,
no, we don't do that.
You don't do that. No, and that's why I'm saying, you know, you're good at your job, and that's why I wanted you to come on. That's why I reached out to you, because I seen you on, I think it was Uni Lad, I think it was, or Lad Bible, sorry. I seen you on Lad Bible, and I thought, I need to get this lady on our podcast. I really do. And it's, even though some of the scenes that you go to are horrific and whatever, but people getting the understanding of what goes on behind them type of scenes and what goes into it and what got you interested in to do that and finding that out. But you know what I want to speak to you about, Stacey, as well, is like, you know, when you've got to go to like a murder scene. For you, obviously you briefed and whatever. If you can speak about it, you know, no names or anything like that or whatever, but any particular ones that stand out for you. Hiya everyone, sorry to interrupt this episode, but here's a quick one from me. If you're enjoying the podcast and you enjoy what we're doing, you can now buy us a coffee. It's a simple way to keep those stories coming. No subscription, just that one-off bit of support. The link's in the description. Now back to the episode.
Okay, so we got called out to a property by the local authority. They had gone into there was a drug den. It was in Ashford. Am I allowed to say where it was?
Yeah, of course.
So it was in Ashford. When we turn up, the place had been completely boarded up because the drug users kept breaking into this. It was like a flat above a shop in Ashford. So we knew already it was not very nice. It was on the high street. You could see that there was guys hanging around and they were watching us when we turned up. We had to go around the back of this dingy little road, and there was mattresses on the floor outside, and you could see like the drug paraphernalia on the floor outside as well. So as we're going up, the place was full of rats as well. So there was the rat nesting where they'd like come out of the pipes even, like getting up. So what the drug users were doing were climbing up the pipe work up the back of the
drain pipe.
Flat, yeah, the drain pipe, yeah, to get in. So we had that completely boarded up, and you could see that they'd still tried to get into it. When we got into the flat, you had stairs from the shop door that went up to the top of the flat, and there was blood all up the wall. So you don't really, when you walk in, you can't see the full effect of it because you have to clean as you go. It's not, I can't carry on walking and put biohazard. If I stand in it, I'm going to continue walking it everywhere that I go.
Yeah.
So all I saw to begin with was the stairs and the wall with like bloody handprints going up the wall. And you could kind of see where they'd maybe stopped because we'd been informed this person had been stabbed. They'd stopped and there was like a pool of blood on the stairs. But you have to clean as you go. So we have to decide there and then, okay, we've done our sweep. There's no needles here. We now need to work out if we need to take away the carpet on the stairs. So then before you can even get to the actual scene, we're cutting out the stairs before we can go any further to get rid of the biohazard as you go. So then every turn, all I could see at the time, like I said, was the stairs. I had no idea what was waiting in the flat. So as you've gone up and then you've turned around the corner, I could see the living room and there was a sofa. That was pretty clear there. But then as you walked through the kitchen, it was an absolute massacre. There was pools of blood everywhere where the guy had been stabbed and passed away on the floor. Made it upstairs. So we were kind of told that it was used as a drug den, and there was a fight between these guys, whoever in there at the time, and obviously that whilst they were under the influence of whatever it was they were taking, one of them had been murdered. So it had been dealt with by the police, and then we have to go in after to fix it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I can't just walk up the stairs and go straight into the kitchen because it's not safe to do that. So sometimes the whole scene doesn't actually unfold until I turn the corner. Yeah.
See, like you're saying, you're cutting the staircase out, the carpet off, and then as you're going, it's as and when where it is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's
working as you go. It's very time consuming because then it also may have gone through where he stood, and there was obviously some drips on some of the carpet, so that's okay. If it's not gone through, penetrated the carpet too deep or the underlay, we can clean that away. If it started to pull, it goes through the carpet, through the underlay, then through the chipboard, and then you have to take the stairs off, and then it's gone through the base of the stairs. So then we have to get access through the shop, under the stairs, to see where it's gone through there, and if it's gone through even further, because blood just goes and goes and goes and spreads.
Really? So the deep clean is like...
Oh, really, yeah. Through skirting, like obviously if someone, sometimes they might have put their hand on if they're really bleeding or they've died against, one gentleman that died in his bed against the wall, he started to decompose, it had gone down the wall, and then you have to pull the skirting board away because it's all under, and then you have no idea how far it travels. It may look about, I don't know, this big in the carpet. By the time you take the carpet and the underlay away, it's everywhere, on the chipboard. So, we have to, it's very, very intricate.
That's what, this is exactly why, because when people watch all these programmes on the telly, they only see like a little quick, the crime scene clean up and stuff like that. But when
it looks easy, go in, take the carpet away, you're in a white suit, but it isn't. You physically have to, like I said, you're unscrewing
floorboards and stuff.
Yeah, like in the kitchen where he'd passed away, the guy that had been stabbed, the kickboards of the kitchen, obviously you have like, it was a lino in there, which for us was a dream because it's, you know, we're not having to cut all of that away. But we did here in this one because underneath the kitchen, the kickboards, we've had to hammer those out to get what's under there, and the lino had stopped, so the blood had gone through and seeped through like the hard, like the cement top. So, and then there's like, you have to try and scrape that away to get the biohazards. So you can sanitize it, and then sometimes the stain can't be removed. So realistically, if it's sanitised and it's safe, you just paint over the top of it.
And how long was you on that job for? Like something like that, where it's an intense, deep clean. Where, how long was you on that job? Like, was it?
So from start to finish, there was probably about 4 of us on that one. I think we were there 6 hours. So 4 of us for 6 hours. So
I thought you were going to say a couple of days, if I'm going to be honest, because of obviously, you know, the intense clean of it. And when you're saying like blood, like sort of, you think it's just like a blob like that big, but when you pull it back, it's got skirting boards and and you've got to remove like, you know, floorboards and stuff like that. That's, it's unbelievable, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
And sometimes the clearances are what take a long time as well. So if we have to go to a house where a hoarder, somebody that's hoarded in has passed away, the clearance is what takes a lot of time as well, because we're taking away all of their belongings and the furniture and everything that we need to. The cleaning, the murder, we just had to sanitise it so that they could go in and do the investigation. So we weren't taking any furniture away or anything else. We was just dealing with the biohazard. Yeah. So. And
the biohazards, like, is that a relentless? Is it, you know, the phone going and stuff like that? Is that pretty much?
So like I said, it comes in ebbs and waves. So the murders and things, the police do a lot of their cleaning in-house now. So you have to go up for tender and they go for big multi-million-pound companies. So my work normally comes from members of the public. So like the gentleman that called me about his son. I've in contact with a few funeral parlours. So sometimes they'll refer me. The local authorities that I've got contracts with. But a lot of biohazard obviously isn't just the crime scenes and murders. It can be, we go out quite a lot for road, like rats and things, and that have, you know, infiltrated houses, and there's rat feces everywhere. And I had one where there was this poor girl was it was like a HMO property. And the people below her, it's like a 4-storey house. The people below her had noticed cockroaches in the house. So pest control had gone out, found the source of these cockroaches. I've got footage of this, so I'll show it to you after. So when they've opened the door, the cockroaches were literally running alive around the door frame. And this girl was sleeping in bed in this room. She'd bought them from where I think she travelled, and they were running alive all over her when she was in bed at night, but she just thought they were a nuisance and was brushing them off. But they'd infiltrated the whole house. But, you know, their bodies, their feces, they carry diseases, and then that brings in rodents.
Skin's caught, my skin, look at my ears on my arms.
So you can get very, very ill from rodent feces and rodent urine, and pigeons are very, very hazardous. So we do a lot of rodent cleanups as well. So the pest control guys go in and sort that out. And then I'm very close to some pest control. I'm really scared of spiders and I don't like heights, so I won't go in lofts and things. So they'll get rid of them. And then I'll go in and do the clean-up afterwards.
But
so we do work together for a lot of them.
But it's good that, you know, you've got that, what's the name, bit of
networking,
and it's not just the biohazard stuff, what we've been touching a lot on. And you know,
I can do pest control. I'm trained for it. I don't really like it. Because when you go to a crime scene, when the flies have set in and you've got the flies and the maggots and the life cycle, we have to obviously you can't clean when there's flies everywhere. So we have to go in, obviously, one of the first things, again, is to get rid of all of the flies with the pesticide, and then go back and sort it out afterwards. So I can do it. I don't. It's not my favourite.
Have you been on a job that's obviously where you've probably gone, oh my God, this is all in one? That's just your nightmare that you've got.
It normally is. So
like you say, you've gone to a biohazard, but also there's like
rats, flies, and cockroaches. Bed bugs.
Have you had all that before? Yeah.
I've had bed bugs, rats, and flies before, because they all attract. They're all attracted. You know, you leave a house where there's people who are drug users. They're not paying attention to cleaning, so the bins are overflowing, and there's rotting meat in the kitchen, and it's not very clean. So then that's attracting the flies, and then you're getting mice, and then they're not very clean people. So then you know the beds aren't being changed, and then the bed bugs will like come in, and they're on all of the different animals and. So sometimes you don't know where to start.
You've got like you say, you don't know where to start, and like you say, it's flies, maggots.
But then it's also, I've been to a house before where there was 11 I think that it wasn't meant to be this many people, but there were 11 people living in a flat who had come from overseas, and they'd brought bed bugs with them. And the little children were there when I was there, and were literally running a lot, like they were the bites on their arms, and the mums just did not know. They were trying their hardest to get rid of the bed bugs and just couldn't do it. And bed bugs are very, very difficult to get rid of. So I've advised them, the best thing to do is to throw it all away and get new stuff. But they've got no money. They've come over here, so we're trying to treat the bed bugs, but it can be like a 3-month cycle.
Fighting a losing battle, just fight.
Yeah, you just throw it. It's the best thing to do, throw it away. But if you can't do that, and we're trying to go down this, they're very difficult to get rid of, and it's, the pesticides are quite fun to use, and some of them are, we like to call them little landmines. So when you treat them to begin with and you give them the first initial treatment, you've then got the whole life cycle. So the bed bugs that are not born yet, or the ones that are pupas or whatever. So we leave this pesticide that's in the carpet, so it's obviously safe to walk on for us. But if a bed bug walk past it, it's like a little landmine. So obviously when they walk on it, it like blows them up. So sometimes it's quite, I find that quite fun.
Yeah, you're going there, that's your job to do.
And I'm just like, we're going to explode all these bed bugs, but they're awful.
Yeah, that's what you say, but
then I get a lot of anxiety as well around. I don't want bed bugs in my house.
So obviously contaminate coming home. So
when you stop and buy at a supermarket and buy a brand new pair of £8 trainers that literally don't mean anything to me, and wear old clothes. And I've before stood outside someone's front door and taken everything off, put it in the bin, and then just put like a new clothes on to go home. I'm not taking.
So you're not
trainers.
contaminating, bringing it all into
I'm
your.
not bringing that home with me at all. I'm not having bed bugs in my home.
Yeah.
Because they're so hard to get rid of.
As well, Stacey, this is like a bit of a mad one, but has there ever been like a crime scene or, a property or whatever that you've gone to and you've just gone, what have I walked into, where it's like either been blood or there's been like just contaminated with all kinds of...
Yeah.
Have you ever had any jobs like that?
Yeah, there's one literally in my head, like replaying now. So we had a brothel in Canterbury that we'd been called to, and there was again drug users in there, and there was a lot of bodily fluids that needed to be taken care of, and the whole place had been trashed. There was clothes everywhere, and then that's really difficult for us to find the needles. If we've been informed that there's one needle, as soon as you find one needle, that's it. The whole place needs a complete sweep, and that's very, very intricate. So you need a safe zone, safe area. No one can go ahead of anyone else. We need to literally go through everything with litter pickers. You need the needle sweep gloves on, the furniture. So like if you were in here, you'd have your needle sweep gloves on, and you'd go down inside the cushions to try and force the needles out. Before you can then deem this as safe. Sometimes they would like these little beads here.
Yeah.
If they try and booby trap you, so a lot of squatters and people that are known to the police and they're breaking into these places, they know how difficult it can be for us. So they'll push the needles inside the sofa. So this obviously then couldn't just go off to wherever.
Did you say booby trap?
Yeah, they're literally. They've unscrewed the next to light switches. Again, I spoke about this on the Bible. When you've got a light switch, you've got 2 screws. They'll unscrew the screw and put a needle in there. So if you went to touch the light switch, you can get a needle stick injury. On top of door frames, behind, we've had one before, taped behind like a door handle. So if you've gone to open the door, you could get a needle stick. So people with their mental health issues, so
I get mental health issues, but I think, if I'm going to be honest, I think that's
mean.
Fucking out. That's
life
outrageous. It's life changing. People are doing the job and they're going in, and you don't know what that needle's. What it's. It could be a clean needle or whatever. It could be a needle that's been used for injecting something or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Or
so
you don't know if they've got some type of disease or whatever.
So obviously you have, so they carry, it's called bloodborne pathogens. So bloodborne pathogens are things like HIV, hepatitis. So you can be vaccinated against hepatitis B. So when you start this journey, that is the first thing that they advise. It's like a 3-course vaccine, and then you're protected against hepatitis B. I don't currently believe, I don't know if this is true or not, but there isn't one that I think that's for hepatitis C. But HIV doesn't live for very long outside of the body. So unless it happened there and then, it's very hard to contract HIV from a used needle. Hepatitis, though, can live, I think the latest research was like 8 weeks. So that's why we have to be protected against it.
It's still scary, that though.
But I'm trained. So if you went in and did it with no training, that's what I said. The first job that I did with needles, I was exactly like you. I was like, there is no way on that. You couldn't pay me £1 million to go and do that. And then I was thinking, but people must do it. And then the brain was going. I was like, if people do it, then there's a need for it. They've called me for it. As long as I know safely how to deal with it, then there's nothing stopping me. So now I wouldn't think twice if someone called me now and said there's a drug den. I actually like doing needle sweeps. They're fun.
Consider it from the first one. Consider it from the first time.
I was like, nope.
No, that's exactly what I mean. But
whereas now, yeah,
I'm
like, oh, it's a good one that's coming today. We've got a needle sweep. So,
but no, it's it's crazy when it's blew my mind out about booby traps and stuff like that. It's fucking,
kids' shoes. We found them before discarded in children's shoes, and
what?
And I remember this one specifically because my daughter had this toy. This was the child that had passed away from neglect. They were drug users, and there was a little tiny cookie jar that she had. I don't know if you've got children, but it used to sing, and you used to put shapes in it, and it would sing about shapes being inside the cookie jar. And when I was clearing, I think that was the only time that emotion had come into the job with me, because as I was looking to clear the cookie jar, there was a needle in there. And it took me back to my daughter being little on the floor, putting the shapes in, and I was thinking, what kind of life has this child had to have a needle inside their toy when my daughter would just happily sit there playing with her cookie jar? So it's things like that sometimes will snap you back, and then I have to be like, no, like you're
such an innocent child.
Yeah.
And
so yeah,
when you
there's loads of things like that take you, and you think, oh gosh, like that one toy has got such significance to two completely different childhoods and two different lives, and things like that. But yeah, we found them inside kids' shoes, and because they'll obviously just inject and then whatever's close to them,
and they just dump it in, and it's no,
because they're not thinking obviously once they've done it. Yeah, it's not intentional. I mean, the booby traps are intentional, but intentional whilst they're under the influence. So
it's when you say it like that, it's like obviously.
I think when they're in kids' parks and things, we've been called out to ones that have been around kids' parks, and I think that's, why have you done it near a kids' park?
It's exactly where kids play and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But it's to cause inconvenience if they've been wronged. They feel that they've been wronged by the police, or it is to cause inconvenience to, the park has to be shut down, or, the area if they feel disgruntled.
Just for kids to play and enjoy themselves and stuff like that. What do people misunderstand about the job of a crime scene cleaner or deep scene cleaner?
I think probably to begin with, they think it's really interesting, and they think it's probably a lot easier than it is, and it doesn't come with as much behind the scenes stuff that comes with it, with the risk assessments and the method statements and the insurance that I need. There's lots of companies out there that won't even insure me because we deal with biohazard. So I have to religiously send them all of my up-to-date like safeguarding,
paperwork,
the paperwork, all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just the crime scene.
There's so much that goes on more.
Yeah, there's so much more that goes onto it. So I don't really know. What did you ask, if there was what people think about it? What
do often people misunderstand about the job of what you do, crime scene cleaner and deep scene cleaning?
Yeah, so I think again, it's just they don't understand the background. And lots of people didn't even know really it was a thing. No one really thinks about what happens after someone's been murdered. So if somebody's been murdered, the police go in, do what they need to do, and then they go. And then what happens after? So lots of people don't really understand the process of what does happen after. So
they just assume, don't they, the police deal with all of that?
That's it. That it's assumed that the police deal with it, or But again, if it's non-suspicious, or somebody's died at home, and they've been alone for a week, the police are not. It's not suspicious. So
it's down to
the family.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people don't understand. You get a phone call from the police saying, sorry, your so-and-so's been found passed away. And then they go, you deal with it now.
Do you know when that's made me think, because, obviously you said about the gentleman before, and he rang you, obviously for about his son. But like you say, people who pass away at home and whatever, and it's not in suspicious circumstances, for like family members or whatever, it's something that it's always, what's the name, mate? How do people deal with that? Do you know what I mean? Did he phone the ambulance or whatever? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or did he phone the crime like a cleaner? You know what I mean?
I guess when you think about, and no one likes to think about it, but obviously death is quite prominent in my life.
Yeah.
But you think about, you'd like to think that you were in hospital if you're ill, and then, you're going to die in hospital, and that's dealt with.
Yeah.
Or you're in a care home and you're elderly, or you're surrounded by your loved ones, and everyone has that nice vision. But no, if you've had a heart attack one Sunday morning when you're home alone, that's where you've died. That needs to be dealt with.
It's mad when you know, when you look at it like that. No, but it's true. It's true. You're totally right in what you're saying, and it's, you know, when you put it like that, you know, like, you could be in hospital, yeah, you could be like in a nursing home or whatever and whatever. But when you're at home or whatever,
Or in the car, with people that pass away in their car.
you know, stuff like that. It's like you getting a phone call to come and, you know, to help with this situation, because it's something that people don't think about.
Yeah, and that's it. No one. Yeah, and how do you deal with that? And again, I think this is what I mean when I think back. If I was in my early 20s, before I even dreamed of being a crime scene cleaner, if that had happened to me, or I had a phone call that said my auntie or my nan or whoever, this has happened, what would I do? I don't know.
How do you
you
react
call the police,
to that?
or who helped you? So yeah, there are, like, you know, family liaisons if it's to do with the police, and they will direct you to wherever. But
The right services,
if it isn't,
isn't
if it isn't suspicious and someone's passed away at home with a heart attack, then the police aren't going to get involved in that.
Yeah.
So that's why we speak with funeral parlours and crematoriums, because then they can potentially kind of refer us and go, if you need help with the
aftercare and stuff like that.
Call cleansed.
Yeah. No, that's it.
So yeah.
What's people's normal response, you know, when you tell people what you do and that, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's
if you're
quite funny,
socialising,
really.
or, I mean,
Yeah.
I know your friends will probably know and stuff,
Yeah.
but, like, you know, if a conversation
So,
comes up.
Yeah, my friends obviously know. And yeah, I think it's been quite funny. It was really funny. I went to a Halloween party a few years ago, and someone was talking, and there was just general chit chat. People didn't know each other, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I don't normally just go in and go, well, I'm a crime scene cleaner," but I said, "Oh, I've got my own commercial cleaning company." And then the person that knew me was like, "No, tell them what you do." And they're like, "What do you do? What do you do?" And I say,
One of them.
I'm a crime scene cleaner. And then that's their, like, everyone that's in the kitchen then just completely hones in, and you've got this, like, audience. And obviously I talk quite literally about it because it's my job. There's not much that I haven't seen. So I can tell people's limits. So I'll go in and say something, and one person will walk off. Oh, I can't listen to that anymore. And then they'll go. And then there's other people that I can see their eyes, like, filling. Yeah. They're like, that's amazing, and they want to know more details and the ins and outs of everything. So
that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted you to come on, because I knew, obviously, you know, you'd speak about, you know, your job and the in-depth thing, you know, about everything, and people find these type of things, crime scene investigation and all stuff like that. They find it interesting.
Yeah.
But to find the backstory of, like, crime scene cleaning and, you know, deep cleaning and stuff like that, it's just such an eye-opening. Like I say, for me, I was like, I knew a little bit.
Yeah.
But like you say, you know, a couple of things have hit me there where, like, you know, what we spoke about and stuff. But do you think people, you know, your work's changed the way you view life?
Yes.
Or even people?
People is a difficult one to answer. It actually makes me view people who are relatives of people that have been passed away and left for a while very differently, because if we've been called to one before where somebody passed away, I think it was 6 weeks they'd been left for. So they'd not been contacted for 6 weeks. It was a neighbour that found the gentleman that had passed away. So when the family were told, all they said to us in the brief, so I'd never met the family because they were overseas, and we were clearing the property, and all they said was, if you find any cash, we want the cash and we want the jewellery. And I said, okay, like, that's because we normally get them to sign everything over to us, because once it's signed over, if there's clothes there that we can donate, we will. If there's food that's non-perishable, that goes to
food bank and that.
Food banks, or people that are helping families that have escaped domestic violence. Anywhere, you know, we've sent stuff to Ukraine. So all of anything that we can salvage and recycle or reuse, we will. We try and stop as much as we can going to landfill and whatever. But yeah, and I said to them, I remember it was an email conversation because they live far away, and I said, oh, we've actually found, like, a family album with photos, and they was like, oh no, bin that. We just want the money or the jewellery. So that really, and that's really difficult, obviously, when the emotional element. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's fine if you don't want them. And this person had won awards for, like, their photography, and had been in the newspaper for their photography. And then I was thinking, they've not been contacted for 6 weeks, and all you want is the cash and the jewellery. Luckily, I think there was a couple of necklaces, but there was no cash there, so that was quite satisfying.
That's heartbreaking, that.
It happens a lot, though.
Do you know, family, just for someone not to be seen for 6 weeks and whatever, you know, well, if I've not been seen for 6 hours, me missus is there, do you know what I mean? But
You're very lucky then.
No, but to be, you know, 6 weeks and whatever, you know, you're worried, you know, you go and check and you're going to see if they're okay. And okay, I know if you're saying the family was overseas and whatever, but then to even, you know, you're speaking to them via email and that, and if there's any cash or there's any jewellery, we'll have that. Fucking someone's died.
Yeah.
Family member, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, but like you say, it happens a lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot. That's yeah. We've had people before outside the property trying to get in so they can get in before the cousin because they want this, I can't even remember what it was, some ornament that they wanted. And they were
worth a few quid then or
trying to get in. Yeah, there's an ornament in there. It's like a blue and white ornament. And I said, that's fine. Obviously, we need to make sure we've got the safe zone when we get in. And then they're pulling up in their cars. And then obviously my staff are at risk because you've got they're fighting in the street. Oh, she promised that to me and I want that. And
wow.
Well, no, she said it was to me. And well, we've got the will reading, so they'll try and get in.
While you're trying to do what you just...
Yeah, we've had them, yeah. I've had to call the police before to come and try and stop them from coming in.
Oh, on that one, you know, they're trying to get in to get an ornament because they must know it's worth a few quid.
Yeah.
And they're trying to... And they're fighting over it because...
You're tempted to kind of knock it off and go, I'm really, really sorry it's been broken, and just stop them from...
I would have just smashed it on the floor.
Throw it out the window, like, catch. But no.
But it's...
So that impacts how I think, see people.
You see people for what they are, really, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and it really worries me that money is such a strong
it's evil,
driver.
isn't it?
It really is, yeah, they say that to me.
They say the money's the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Do you know, if someone's life is lost and all you're asked about is the financial thing about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing about it.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And
obviously, when I see people who have passed away from addiction or mental health, that worries me, obviously, because of the world that we live in, and everything is very accessible now, and people are very vulnerable and easily influenced. And I always used to think of depression and addiction quite differently. Whereas now I think that person has no control over that, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Wonder what they've been through to get to that.
What has happened to them to get to this point with people that have hoarded themselves into places, or if they've got such a bad addiction that they've lost everything, but it's got such a grip on them. And I used to really be like, they brought it upon themselves.
Yeah.
Really ignorant view when I was younger. Whereas now I'm not like that at all. I think, this person needs help, and there isn't much out there.
And you know what, Stacey, you hit it on the head there, because we've had so many people on the podcast who've been through addiction and that.
Yeah.
And the backstory to why they got to where they were at. And I probably had the same outlook as well, do you know what I mean? And you sort of, but when you meet people and they've been through addiction, and the struggles that they've gone through, you don't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm gonna get on.
Do you know what? I'm gonna lose my wife and
I'm gonna lose
today.
everything. I'm just gonna piss everything up the wall.
I'm gonna lose my job, and I'm gonna lose my house, and I think I fancy sleeping on the streets and injecting myself. No one chooses that. You'd never choose that life. You wouldn't.
And like you say, as you get a bit older, you realise and you'd understand why it's took something for them to be at the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And they're probably thinking, they've lost everything, it's so sad when you break it down like that, really.
And I've done a couple of sponsored sleep outs with porch light. So and it was freezing. January 6th, I think we did one year, and it got to -3. And they gave us cardboard boxes to make a house for the evening. And there was a barrel with a fire. It was safe. We were in like a closed car park. And obviously it was January, so by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was dark. And then it doesn't get light again until 7:30, 8 o'clock the next day. And it was 3:30 in the morning. And we've got nothing with us, just our clothes. A couple of the guys were drinking alcohol to keep themselves warm, which is, you don't need a coat when you're out in the, when you've got your, what's it called, like alcohol jacket on.
Yeah.
And in the end, we were so cold, the cardboard little hut that we'd made, we burnt it because we were so cold and we needed it for the fire. And again, I think the next day I got in my car, and that was massively humbling for me at how much you appreciate your pillow. But also, I was just thinking, no one would choose this. Why would you choose
Yeah.
to have 12 hours of darkness in the freezing cold?
It just gives you a different outlook on it all, and just like, because you've
Yeah.
obviously gone and done it.
But then I think I couldn't do this again tomorrow. I was like, I've just got through this night. It was sponsored. We raised a lot of money for Porchlight, great. But there are people out there that this is their life.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to try and keep warm, and then tomorrow comes, and then that's it. Then they've got to look forward to the darkness again. And I understand how that would completely beat you down.
Of course.
So I do have a completely different perception now of mental health, I guess, which is why I try and support as much as I can.
Yeah.
But it's hard trying to get people to accept the help that are struggling mentally because they don't feel like they deserve it or that they're worthy of it. So that's another battle in itself. But so there's lots of sides to the coin with it. You know, you've got the bad side of families that just want the cash and the nice ornaments, and then the other side where people, again, these are the people that probably one day will die on their own. It's just,
It's sad, isn't it? So sad. How do you balance family life?
I've got a really good support network.
Yeah.
So I'm a single parent. It's just me and my daughter. It's always just been me and my daughter. I've got very, very supportive parents, and my sister is really helpful. And I actually live with my two best friends. So we just help. They're really, really helpful. I literally could not do this without them.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good that you've got that, you know what I mean? Because your job is full on. It's relentless. What does your daughter think of your job?
She thinks I'm a famous cleaner, which is really funny.
Yeah,
Because obviously the Lad Bible thing, and I've been in the
yeah.
paper a couple of times. So she's only 12, so she's shielded a lot from. She doesn't really know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
that they do.
you don't discuss, and I mean,
Yeah.
which is obviously you wouldn't, but
She'll hear things if I'm on the phone, and we have nicknames for jobs as well. So like I'll say to my colleagues, "Oh, do you remember the rat job?" If we've been to one that's really, really full of
yeah,
rats, and there was one kitchen that was full of it was like lobster skin. So we called it like the crunchy house. So like, do you remember the crunchy house? So she'll say to me like, "Oh, what are you talking about, the crunchy house?" Because
just chocolate on the floor.
little head, yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, it's the cereal everywhere."
yeah,
And obviously in lockdown was difficult because we were going out a lot in lockdown doing fogging, so like sanitisation, cleaning and decontamination. So a lot of places that had families in that needed to be moved on, we had to go in and do a complete decontamination clean during COVID. So that was hard as well during lockdown because I was going out as like a key worker, but she was at home being homeschooled, and that was quite tough. So, and when I got phone calls coming in of things that had happened, because obviously the jobs, people don't stop passing away during COVID. In fact, it got worse.
yeah.
So and she's there with me. She's not at school. She's trying to, I'm trying to help homeschool her. So I'm trying to take myself away so she's not hearing a lot of the gruesomeness. But yeah, she knows. She knows what I do, and she's come to a couple of the jobs, none of the awful ones. Like when we go to the primary school, she's come and had to look around and things like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I try and go down the more of the commercial side with her.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah. What's been the good, the bad, and the ugly of crime scene cleaning and deep cleaning?
The good probably is that it's paid quite well. So that does support me in quite a nice lifestyle. I like to go on holiday. We absolutely love Disneyland, so we try to go, once a year. We've got Florida booked next year.
I think it's closer to use than
yeah, it is.
you have to
It's
use
like the whole
driving
drive up. So yeah, we try and explore new places. So I'll take her for like weekends away and things like that. So that's funding that kind of lifestyle. And the satisfaction that I get, I think. I love my job, and I think that I'm very good at my job.
Yeah.
And I think that my team really buy into that as well. So because I'm passionate about it, if there's a toilet that's particularly gross, I don't make them do it. I'll get stuck in, and even if it makes me sick.
Do you know, there's something I want to say to you, because you said it right at the start. When you done that first cleaning job,
Yeah.
and when you cleaned it, you felt so proud of it.
Yeah.
And speaking to you now,
Yeah.
and everything that you've been dealing with and still that you deal with today,
Yeah.
going to all kinds of biohazard jobs and this job, you're still so passionate about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I live and breathe this. Like, all I talk about, I think people probably get annoyed with me because wherever we go out for dinner, and if I'm with my friends, and it will start talking about, oh, like, how's work? And then the whole conversation gets steered to, to the job and what's going on and what's coming next and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the good side. The bad side, I think, is probably experiencing when I see how some people have passed away. It does kind of sit with you, and you think that might happen to me one day, or someone that I love, and you think, I don't want to pass away like that.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes it can be, obviously there's not many scenes that normal people would see on a day-to-day basis. If you see something happening, I don't know, in a high street and someone gets attacked, that's very rare that you're going to see that. But I'm seeing things like this day in and day out. I deal with blood and feces and urine and rats all of the time. So it is, yeah, it can be quite difficult. Like we've said with them, sometimes I need a couple of days afterwards to process what's happened. So yeah, that's the bad, and probably the ugly as well.
That's the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about, what you're saying there, what you deal with, and like you say, how you process things, and you've been so honest and open about certain things where,
Yeah.
like I said to you before, like mentally, trying to switch off where, you can just get into that mode and that's how you do it, and then you go home, family time with you and your daughter and your friends and stuff, and
Yeah.
you just think, wow, how'd you do that like that? You know what I mean? But listen, you're in the, that's how you focus.
Yeah, it's like we said, it's my job, so.
That's your job and stuff. Where do you see the profession or whatever heading? Is there more awareness and respect for what crime scene cleaners do?
So that's probably what I'm focusing on next. So I'm trying to make, I've just released a staceyfoyster.com, which is where people can subscribe so they can find out more about different jobs that I've been on, more information about cleaning tips, how to get stains out of things, so like the general side of cleaning as well. But I also really want to go down a training route, so to educate people on how to deal with different scenarios.
Yeah.
What kind of viruses are carried if you have got rats in your garden and people just think they'll go in for Hoover and sort it out. Actually, you're putting yourself at risk. So probably educating people, and also trying to find some mental health support for people that are struggling and that may, if they continue down that road, I may be there one day, clearing the house once they've passed away.
Yeah.
So the mental health support and making awareness of reaching out to people. So again, the community at Christmas, which is what we're trying to, as long as it all goes through okay, is just getting awareness in the community to check on your neighbour that lives on their own, that's elderly, check on, just keep an eye out so that someone isn't left for 6 weeks, passed away in their house.
Of course,
So that's the kind of route that I want to go down, and then hopefully even one day make my own products and get actually back into the science of things and that kind of thing, really. So I really want to take it to the next level.
You seem like you know where you want to go and stuff
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
definitely got a vision.
You
Yeah.
and there's what's wrong with having a vision, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's what we do in life,
Yeah.
if you haven't got a vision or where you want to be, and you're pushing yourself,
Yeah.
considering what the job entails and stuff like that. But how can people contact you in regards to like what you're saying there about, certain things? If you want to know information, or
Yeah.
what advice would you give to someone who was looking to follow in your footsteps? How can they contact you again?
So we've just released staceyfoyster.com. So
Yeah.
obviously we'll link it on the
We'll put it in the
podcast. Yeah. And that will have all the details there of how to subscribe to the emails, and then they can contact me if I can obviously get back to them if they need to. But the subscription will be just for tips and the stories that what we've been doing this week, what the highlight of the week is, what the cleaning tip of the week is, that kind of thing. We've also got a competition running at the minute to win a free clean. So we've got something with Space Station for the Britain's messiest room. So we're going to go out and do a free clean.
There's a few of them, I bet you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you can enter and subscribe to find out more information about that. If you subscribe, obviously you can be entered for that. There's loads of things that are in the pipeline. One day someone asked me to write a book once. So I think once I've been in the industry a bit longer, I want to retire early-ish. Well, I say that, but when I'm 55 and I'm on the brink, I think I want to retire. I don't think I will retire. I think I'll have a new venture then.
Yeah,
so.
Of course. But it's interesting that you say about a book, because I think, like I said before, people are into all this crime scene stuff. It's mad. Crime scene at the moment is where, you see a lot of documentaries and people are hooked on it.
Yeah.
Writing a book. If you ever wrote a book, have you ever thought of a title or whatever?
Well, I was going to say, I have got a title for it.
Yeah.
It would be, because the company's called Cleansed, and I used to be scared of needles, it was going to be cleansing away your phobias, because obviously I was really scared of needles and blood, which is then how I process through to get through, through to it, to the job that I'm at now. So yeah, something around that, something around cleansing, and I'm not quite sure, but that one stuck with me, cleansing away your phobias. I think just some tips and things about how to tackle what you're scared of. So I'm terrified of heights, and where we live, like in London, there's the O2, the arena, where people have concerts and things. And to get there, you have to go over this absolutely terrifying cable bridge that I hate.
Seen it.
And every time we go there, my daughter's like, please can we go on the cable? Because she loves it. She'd be hanging off she loves climbing and rock climbing. She's really good at it. So she'd be outside if she could stand in on the top. So I will force myself to do it because she loves it. And I was like, you need to do something every day that scares you. Yeah. And I'll be in there breathing every time going, oh my gosh, we're going to die over the Thames. So yeah, I just feel like if something scares you, you can't let that limit you. You have to just push through it because it could be the best thing that's ever happened to you. So me turning down that needle job, but then researching it and becoming trained has led me here today. So
yeah, is there anyone out there, you know, any big corporations or whatever who you'd love to work with? Your company.
Well,
Anyone that sticks out for you?
Netflix.
Yeah.
I mainly like cleaning all of the scenes, not to be on Netflix. I think that'd be quite scary. But like,
why not?
What, to be on Netflix?
Why,
do you think people would like to have a show for crime?
The Diary of a Crime Scene Cleaner.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Listen,
maybe. You
I better
know.
be on a commission if that comes off. You know what I mean? But no, listen, why not? Because,
yeah, maybe.
Because you see, like I just said to you, I am one of them people who do watch these crime
I would love to watch
but
it.
I'm a bit. There's some things I'm a bit like that. You know what I mean? I mean, my missus is banging. She loves it. You know what I mean? But then I do watch it. But why couldn't they be a Netflix?
Yeah.
If Netflix come calling, the crime scene
I won't
cleaner.
say no. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's something to think about. And imagine that come off. Working. On a day to day. You know what I mean?
That would be amazing. But I do genuinely think, actually working with some big charities around supporting the mental health side, that is the kind of way I want to go, like supporting people, especially with like hoarding, because that is a massive thing for us around clearance and how it affects people. So I think if I could maybe understand a bit better and speak to the charities so I could help more people. So if that came off of the Netflix thing, maybe. But I'd love to work with like a big corporation to help people. On the back of the cleaning.
There's a lot more to it, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
you're not just the crime scene cleaner, so to speak.
Yeah.
You can see, okay, it is a business, but then you can see you've got a massive heart as well, you know what I mean? You care about people and, and that shines through, to be quite honest. And, some people could just go, yeah, it's a job, in, out, see you later, gone. But you can see that you've got a heart of gold and you really care. And, the aftercare as well, you can see that, within you, you know what I mean? And I think it's a really, really nice touch that you do genuinely care about.
Yeah.
But about people who've sadly passed away, and you're trying to do things to help them, but also you're thinking as well people with mental health issues and addiction and stuff. So listen, I just want to say, you come across as a lovely person. You're not just the crime scene cleaner, as we call you.
Yeah.
It's
true though. There's a saying, isn't there, about if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. And I genuinely don't feel like I'm at work. Sometimes I forget to send invoices for a few weeks because I've had such a great time. And because
I know people might say, "It's had a great time." No, but you're just being.
But yeah, because I'm with my staff, we have such a great time together, and we're all of the same like kind of vibe. I guess I know it's horrible as that word is, but we're all of the same. They get me, and they get the passion, and they get the drive. So we and we are dealing sometimes in really awful situations, and you've got
to take that balance. And
we have to make a joke, not obviously about the person, but if we found a cockroach on the floor, we've got another one, and they're just things like I have to bring some humour into it because there's a lot of sadness in some of these places, and like I said, afterwards we'll sit outside together and have our post-job Kit Kat, and we'll go, that was a tough one, but then I can't wait the next day to get back with them.
But do you know what you just said there? You're not the first person who said that about the job. We had a gentleman on, he was a police officer, dealt with a horrific case and whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just the humour. It wasn't like making fun or making anything bad about it.
No.
That was his way of coping and dealing with that situation.
Yeah, you have to.
You know what I mean? And like yourself, very caring individual, do you know what I mean? And stuff. And he left the police force and stuff because he didn't like the way things were being run, and he thought it was totally wrong, and he got out. But that's how he dealt with it.
Yeah, so that is the only, for me personally, that is the only way I think to get through it when you're in the thick of it. And there's been times when I've been it's been such a bad smell that I've been sick in my own mask, and then everyone is like, oh, you know, who's going to be the first one to go, and that kind of thing. And
But that's what gets you through.
it is what
doing
gets
that
us
job,
through. But
isn't
we
it?
also, you know, also as well, I can read my staff, so they'll be, if they go a bit quiet, and I think, right, okay, they've had enough. They need 5 minutes.
Go and what's the name?
Yeah, so take yourself outside, you know, and whatever, get some fresh air. Whatever it is that's going over your head that you're thinking that you need to go and deal with it, put it to bed, I'll come out with you, whatever. And yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards. And sometimes people are like, oh, you know, well, I found this, I don't know, photo frame, and my nan had that, and it's reminded me of my nan. Okay, right, go outside, you know, pull yourself together.
Yeah.
If you can't do it anymore, go home, it's fine. There's no pressure at all. Like, I know that these jobs are tough, but we all stick together, and we all just have such a great time together. And
It sounds like you've got a good team.
yeah,
Midge.
I've got a great team. I love my team. They're
And that's
brilliant.
what, I think, building a team.
Yeah, that's what makes your brand. They are without this, we cover, I think on, you know, a really rough week, sometimes we can cover 150 to 200 hours of cleaning, which is a lot. You know, there's a lot of us, and we all just kind of work, it's like a little beehive. It all goes really, really well. If somebody's poorly, we'll all muck in. If someone goes on holiday, we muck in. And it's the same if that person then is, the person that's covered is then poorly, the person that's back to full health will cover them. And we just have, yeah, we've got WhatsApp chats, and we have a great time, like a laugh when we're all together, which, like I said, I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm hanging out with my mates.
Yeah,
and
no.
we're just doing something that's sometimes a little bit gross, when there's cockroaches and rats and things. But
Yeah. What's family life like today for you?
So like I said, I live with my 2 best friends now, so we have a great time as well. My daughter absolutely loves that as well, because there's lots of different, like, there's adults that she can bounce off of and pull pranks on and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's getting there. I feel like the dream is, I'm halfway through. You know, you have your 5-year plan, and then the business has been going for 7 years now. So I've gone past that first 5 years. So now I'm like, right, what is the next? But you have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And
Of course.
I think the beauty of my job is that I can see that life is so precious. So you have to take every opportunity you can, hence driving 5 hours.
I don't know.
And then being back home tomorrow, back for my normal day of the school run, but I could get a phone call tomorrow for something else. So family life is very unconventional and chaotic.
What's in the pipeline for Stacey Foyster?
I don't know. Hopefully things that are exciting.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got the personal brand going with the staceyfoyster.com. So hopefully people subscribe to that, and I can just help people.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in the pipeline for me. Like I said, I never know. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow yet.
One day to the next.
Hopefully a trip to the Maldives would be nice.
Yeah.
If that needs to, if anyone wants to sponsor that. But yeah.
How can people contact you on social media and stuff if, you know?
Yeah, so we're on TikTok. I think is it the Crime Scene Cleaner? Yeah, so
the handle,
So we're on TikTok as the Crime Scene Cleaner, Instagram Crime Scene Cleaner, Facebook is under the Cleansed company profile, and you can subscribe obviously to staceyfoyster.com for more updates and stories about what we're up to now.
Stacey, I just want to say, you know what? You know, you've drove all this way 5 hours and stuff, and and I genuinely mean this. You know, that episode was such an eye opener for me, and that's why I wanted to get you on, because I come across you and I thought, wow, I need to get this lady on, because she just seems so interesting, and I want to know the backstory and what it is that got it into it, but to even like hear you so passionate about it, and even though some people will go, wow, you know what I mean? And I just think your story, you know, it's blown us away, and I think when people come across this, when they watch it and listen to it, they're going to be absolutely blown away. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing the good, the bad and the ugly.
Oh, you're welcome. It's really nice to meet you.